You remember the old games. Mortal Kombat on the PS2, Ratchet and Clank, Wii Sports, and even my personal favorite, Ben 10 Destructor of Earth. Also have OG Minecraft in there too, why not? All these games had something in common. They were fun and they felt good to play. But new games, absolutely filled with bugs, features nobody asked for, terrible launches, controls feel whack, and input delays about 3 business days, fake frames, and overall, some of them, a lot of them, most of them, they don't feel good to play. So this makes people ask, why do old games feel better than new ones? Is it all just nostalgia or is there an actual reason? Well, you better find out. So let's talk about the games of the past. Old games were made with smaller teams and smaller budgets, which means a couple of things. First, this forced focus on the gameplay and creativity rather than just some extra nonsense in games. 2, this made games get released very quickly, which is why the PS2 had so many games, which I'm gonna sit here and tell you right now, the PS2 is the best console of all time. I don't care. Argue with your mama. And 3, this helped promote creativity rather than focusing on the monions, which is the end goal of every company. But if you look at Activision today, compared to back then, yeah, they're definitely focused on the monions. There were no microtransactions, no battle pass, no BS, no Xbox Live, none of that. And if there are any bugs, good luck. You gotta suck it up, Buttercup, and just keep playing and actually use those bugs to your advantage, like that Super Mario 64 game where you do the backwards steer thing. They had simple controls, simple UI, no nonsense to deal with like ray tracing or whatever we got nowadays, upscaling, all that. Overall, games back then were mostly easy to pick up, play. Even your grandma could get up and play those games. Bro, I was young. I used to call my dad help me finish a level. Now, if I'm stuck, my dad can't even fathom what's going on in video games, which is moving on to the next section. Games today. These games feel bloated. The storage, I swear, is taking up 10 petabytes. Larger dev teams, larger budgets, longer times to create games. How long has GTA 6 been in development now, bro? I think I know kids who were born and go to school now during the development time of GTA 6. There is monetization everywhere. The battle passes, microtransactions, everything got an item shop. DLCs, which I swear DLCs used to be like way more prevalent. Now I just see free games and battle passes. And then you have Call of Duty out there with a pocket full of audacity to give you a battle pass even though you just bought the game for $70 and they want you to get a battle pass. Bro, don't PMO. Now games obviously today have more complex movement and controls, even though our controllers have had the same amount of buttons since the PS2 era. We have better graphics, which I think have stopped improving since 2018. And also games are mad expensive, with Nintendo with a backpack full of audacity to make games, price games at $80, $90, $100. Like they must think I'm Bill Gates. So what do people feel about this? Did older games feel better than new ones? Well, I did a little bit of research and heavy emphasis on the little bit.
A little bit.
Well, people, including myself, we just view old games as just pure fun, pure game. No ads, no tricks, no nothing, no manipulative tactics to get you to pay for something, no skill-based damage matchmaking, all that nonsense. But nostalgia is a very big player in this because nostalgia helps amplify this feeling of games being more simple and more fun back in the day. This strong emotional feeling transfers over to glorifying your memories, making your memories seem better than they actually were. But we know that if you go back to these old games, a lot of times they just turn out to be fun. There's no doubt about it. But actually, one thing that I discovered by going back and playing these older games is that they actually tend to be just as good as they were back then, or even better. A personal example, a few months back, I went back to replay one of my favorite PS2 games of all time, Ben 10 Protective Earth and Ben 10 Alien Force. But we're going to focus on the Protective Earth game because that's a 10 out of 10. Back in my day, when I used to play the game, I was absolute buns because I was a little kid. The game was good, but I didn't have a save card and the levels were just too hard for me. Now when I came back, I was able to absolutely demolish the levels and fully enjoy the game, and I played co-op as well. And I'm gonna be honest, bro, I enjoyed every single part of the game. Like the graphics were actually amazing for the time. Even today's, for today, the way that game looks is absolutely magnificent. I can't even lie to you. I had fun, literally no bugs. I ran into like one bug, if that. And in my opinion, which is the correct opinion right now, I'm gonna tell you that that game was so fun even as an adult, like right now. And I can finally defeat the first boss without being scared of it, bro. Look at it. I used to be terrified of this guy as a kid. But games today, they feel grindy. They take too many hours to complete, and a lot of the time they just do it for the sake of player retention, just to tell their like shareholders that, hey, on average our players are playing 100 hours of a game. Yo, I got about 5 hours in me before I'm done. That's why I love this game right here, Metal Gear. This game is one of my favorite games, and it didn't even take that long to beat, and I replayed it, bro, like a couple times. You'll feel so bored just trying to get through certain missions only because they're time locking higher levels. That's how I feel about Hogwarts Legacy in this example. Some of the game isn't bad. However, some of the missions are level locked, and there isn't like a main quest, meaning you have to do a lot of the random side missions like picking up flux weed and just do little random nonsense to be able to play the main quest. And I hate that they gatekeep the main quest behind different levels. A lot of games today also simply just max out their graphics stat and leave everything else at level 1. Look at games like Anthem. Unfortunately, I had hope for that game, but it's dead. The graphics look good though. That one GTA killer game that came out, which I kind of forgot the name of, but it really looks like somebody got into Unreal Engine and just placed assets everywhere and just called it a day. And so many other games that just max out one stat and leave. Developers have deleted the word optimize from the list of words in their brain. And there's upscaling, which it's supposed to make the game look better, but I swear with my eyes, it looks like horrible. But every developer in NVIDIA want to gaslight me into thinking that upscaling actually makes the game look better. I'm looking at the same game as you. There's no way you think this looks better. And to add to the mess, they have the audacity to add ray tracing. My brother, Broham, who's gonna use that? That's gonna cube root your FPS. It's wraps. And then on top of that, games today have so many controls. One game that I want to mention is Fortnite. The amount of buttons you have to click compared to other games is insane. This is what my hand looks like when I'm playing Fortnite. I'm literally pressing 15 buttons to play regularly, just to operate functionally. And also, if you think you could beat me in a 1v1 on Fortnite, let me know. That's not gonna happen. Here's another game, BO3. Call of Duty back in the day on the PS2 when I used to play it, you walk and you shoot. Now on this absolutely legendary game and the best Call of Duty all time, Black Ops 3, argue with your mama, you have to press a button to slide, shoot, reload, cancel, all while being in the air simultaneously dropping raid hater raps on the other team on Combine. A little bit specific, I know, but can you tell that BO3 is my favorite COD of all time? And with all this, a lot of games today with the horrible launches, insane bugs like Cyberpunk. Conclusion. Why do older games feel better than new ones? The creative constraints from back then, less budget, less workers, less employees, less power, and less controls mean that games were unique, memorable, and overall feel better. The graphics were never a constraint. There was no VSync, no ray tracing. They always had to work around certain walls that they would hit, and they would have to just work around in the most creative way possible. There was no pressure to release a half-baked game to the public. And also, yes, nostalgia definitely plays a role into why older games feel better, but it's not as big of a role as you think. Some of these games from back in the day were genuinely amazing, like Mortal Kombat, which is one of my favorites, Downhill Domination, Ben 10 Protective Earth, and I have good news. If you want to have that feeling of old, simple games that are just fun, then indie games today have that same feeling of simplicity, fun, and charm that the old games used to have. And honestly, I think indie games have been dominating this year, and I hope they continue to dominate from now to the rest of the time because they're cheap and they're fun to play. If you guys enjoyed this video, this is my first time in a while making a video that's not VR related. If you want to see more of this, let me know. I'm just shooting my shot.